But
Bam, we're live. Bam. Hi. Bam, we're live. Hey, should I do a show talking about the behind the scenes?
yeah, of course.
Like
Definitely.
go on Pedro's podcast or something?
Sure. Pedro's not just here.
I don't know. I'm uncomfortable talking about it on our own show. Like I'm jerking myself off. I mean, I am jerking myself off. Not like. When I was in the shower this morning, I was thinking about some of the stuff over the years that Jason Khalipa told me and that Josh Bridges told me, and I thought also about having them on the show. Like at one point, Jason's like, "Hey, dude, I just realized at one point that the media is just a part of CrossFit and that there's no reason to fight it. You got to lean into it." And I just kind of feel like I don't know. I don't want to get all preachy, but there's people like, I'll just use Laura as an example. Like, I don't want her to, like, in 5 years from now, you know, she's got a couple world titles under her name and she's never got to like lean into the media part of it. And there is a really fun part there for the, there's a really fun part there if you learn to accept that. Is this really how you spell assalamu alaikum?
No.
Assalamu alaikum. I like that when the UFC fighters do that.
You think she won't embrace you out there? Like once
I don't know. I'm not sure. But
I think they will.
I just and if she doesn't, she doesn't. That's fine too. You know what I mean? Maybe someone's just like, fuck that. But even Fraser was kind of detested media, and look at, even he came full circle. It's just this evolution. No matter what, like we know that every pollywog turns into a frog. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's why it's so hard watching a kid who's 13 to 16-year-old go through their shit, because every kid goes through it, and like you're like, dude, I could just tell you what's going to happen, so you don't have to do all this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got to go through it, you know?
Yeah.
Dan is here.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Greg.
Good morning, sir. Gentlemen.
Morning, Greg.
Morning, Greg.
How are you?
Fantastic. I am feeling good and happy to be alive. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We got a house full of friends. It's kind of cool.
Amazing.
Happy birthday.
Oh, shit, that didn't take long.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
He hates it. I don't blame you. I hate it too.
You know, can you do next Saturday? I'm like,
you hate
great.
the attention. Yeah, go ahead.
I hit up Jake. I go, hey, dude, happy birthday. He goes, my birthday's the 20th. I'm like, oh, fuck. I thought it was his birthday was. Because his birthday's between mine and my son Blake's, my oldest kid.
His was
18, 20, and 22. So I didn't know what day it was.
So his was 2 days ago.
Problem. So here we are. Thank you.
Here we are.
Amazing.
Are you doing it? Do you do anything? Do you do anything for your birthday, or do you just do you do anything for it?
You buddy, we're sitting here on Coeur d'Alene, and I got boats and friends over, and so you can imagine what we're doing, right?
Right. Same thing you did yesterday.
Yeah, same thing we'll do every day. And with some jiu-jitsu for the kids and homeschooling, and you know,
life's kind of weird.
Like a drink.
Oh, what's it say? Leftist tears. Oh, wow.
Leftist tears.
Wow.
Drink them up.
Hey, it's kind of funny. It's like that when you get older, especially when you have kids. People are like, "Hey, what do you want to do special on your birthday?" And it's like, "Hey, I'm already doing it. Like, I'm gonna hang out with my kids and homeschool them, and then I'm gonna go out on jet skis with them." It's like,
you know, bud, I'm 67 today, and my kids want to make me breakfast in bed, and I'm just seeing this picture on Instagram where I look like I'm in a fucking convalescent home, right? Boom, naked, you know, right? I go, no, I tell you what, how about you make me breakfast at like the fucking table or the boat or something?
Philip Kelly, happy birthday, Greg, for some birthday tacos.
Thank you.
He knows you. Will you do tacos today?
Yeah. In fact, catered.
Serious?
From our favorite taco truck. Yeah. Honest to God. Place makes this great quesadilla. So.
Will the truck come down your windy road all the way around the lake to your side? Oh, Greg got a bad connection today, right?
Yeah, that's unusual for him.
Choppy.
His picture's clear. He froze for me. Did he freeze for you guys?
Yep.
He did.
Okay. Greg, you're frozen. Just so you know. We can't see or hear you.
Oh, he's fixing it.
He magically stood up.
Teleported to the.
Oh, thank you. Look at Audrey. Jet skis cause concussion. Come on.
What? Sounds like Odd gets all squirrely on hers.
Hey, I'll ask Greg that. He'll know about jet ski safety too.
One second, I gotta grab some.
Take your time. Take your time. I was invited. You settle down there. You settle down. I wasn't invited to his birthday, but I'm always invited to the Glassman
You're always invited.
estate. Yeah, you watch yourself. Here, I'll play this for you guys while we wait here.
What are you playing?
Oh, I'll play this for you while we wait. Here we go. Enjoy this while we wait for Greg to get his wire situated. Here
Older lady gets on the elevator with me, and all of a sudden she clutches her purse. It made me feel some type of way, and then it made the whole situation uncomfortable because I'm pulling, she's pulling, I'm pulling, she's pulling, I'm pulling. Just let go of the purse. A white
Misdirection humor, isn't it great?
Amazing.
Oh, there, you're back. Taco truck doesn't have issues coming down your windy road. It's just like it's all good. It comes around the back there.
The driveway's got a switchback in it, but I don't know. What I'm guessing is that it won't be the actual truck that we're buying tacos from, but they'll load all the crap up in trays with a foil, right? Aluminum trays with foil and show up and put it out. That'd be my guess.
Is it a good day there today? Sunny? Good lake day?
A little warm. It's in the high 90s, and I don't need that, but
perfect.
That's how spoiled I am. Yeah, if it gets any hotter, we're going to come to Santa Cruz.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Greg, I was thinking about this morning. When did you know that So basically, I'll bring it up to speed. So basically, you were at one gym. What gym was the gym that you got kicked out of before you opened your own location at Research Circle or whatever that was called?
It was called Spa Fitness Center. Now I think it has a different name in Capitola, just south of the tracks there on 41st.
And then you.
The couple that ran it were pioneers in the industry. I mean, I have a lot of respect for them. We went through a rough patch there where they tried to sink my submarine, but Harry Jenkins went to Santa Cruz High, and he built a commercial gym in the second floor of a barn he rented from someone, and had a cave-in, an epic cave-in that made headlines with multiple injuries, and it was kind of a serious deal. And he was 17 when he did that. And so when I'm at his gym, he's 75 or some damn thing. And Anna Jenkins was one of Jack LaLanne's girls, the girls in the tights. He had a couple of those and a couple of German Shepherds, white German Shepherds. She was of that era. And we clicked, and then we didn't. But that was the last stop for me when Harry called me in one day, and he had a graph he had made of his training program, revenue from the training program. And what had happened was that they were taking a third of my get, and I was charging $75 an hour. So I was hitting 50, and they were charging, for the other trainers were charging 40. And Anna had told us that no one will ever pay that much for training. And I told her I thought it was a value. If you look at what you're selling for 40, I think my 75 is a discount. And
ouch, they didn't like that.
No, they thought it was funny, and they liked it until he came up with his graph and showed me that Almond Morales and I were sinking their ship and taking some of their best clients. We were getting 5-day-a-week people that had been 5-day-a-week for 5 years with other trainers, paying 40, now they're paying 75. And that created some tension. But he says, you got to go. He even had a tear in his eye. I mean, I understood. And he says, I'll put you up somewhere. I've seen how you work. You don't use a lot of gear, and you don't need a lot of room. And we could get something in Los Gatos. I'll help you out. I'll set you up.
Oh shit! He tried to send you over the hill, out of town.
Yeah. And I said, I love the idea. I've been thinking along those lines, but I was thinking like across the street. And so I had to beg for 2 more weeks. Just, let me say goodbye to everyone. And when I went over, it was Claudio Franza, the jiu-jitsu guy, who says, come over to my gym.
Was he a client?
Yep. Yeah, I'd already been working with Garth and BJ, and even at Spa Fitness Center, I was bringing in some people, and they weren't enjoying that so much.
The owners of that place didn't like you bringing BJ Penn in there.
Not in particular, but this MMA kind of clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because as a demographic, they're mild-mannered, kind of cool guys. They don't have nearly the machismo and bravado of, say, tennis players, for what reason no one can explain.
And then you go over to Claudio Franco's, and that's got to be tough, right? I mean, it's
Franza, and no, it wasn't tough. It was delightful from the very beginning. And all but one client came with me, and she was my handful train wreck client. And so I'm like, you're right. Who wants to work out on a jiu-jitsu mat? I mean, I put a med through the wall at Claudio's right there at the dojo,
You took me there. The space there was tiny. I can't even believe you ran a gym there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I moved with him when he moved again. And then there was a period of about a year where I got tangled up with Barry Sears. He was dragging me around, talking to people in gyms.
How did you meet Barry?
It was people that knew Pablo Morales knew Barry, and said I should hear what this guy writing meal plans for Olympic swimmers is doing. And it was prior to the Zone book coming out. And they said that he could put on first principles of 40-30-30 diet, 40% carbohydrate, 30% protein, 30% fat, and thermodynamically tied energy-wise to 3/4 of a gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, I think it was. And I had, in tweaking Gold's Gym Nutritionalysis program, found someone to override the software, and I had taken their 75% carbohydrate diet, 80% carbohydrate diet, and hammered it down to 50%. The people at Gold's knew I was doing it, told me that they would deny any kind of responsibility or knowledge if it ever was found out. I mean, it was weird. It was like I was selling crack in the gym to cut people's lives. And
that's the part that I don't think people get how serious it is. Gold's had a protocol of 75% carbohydrates. You run into Barry Sears. You lower the carbohydrate intake on some of the computer software. That was like, I already
had someone it was Vicky Sims, I believe, at Gold's Gym in Venice, that told me to go get a copy of Atkins' book. And I did. And I'm like, wow, if this guy's not full of shit, we should be able to reduce someone's carbohydrate load and see a physiological difference of some significance. I'll start with myself. 3 days of no carbs, and I'm like seeing trails. I mean, it's like the weirdest experience. I've had my reality altered, and I have no interest in any more chicken, bacon, butter, or anything else. Now my calories have plummeted in 72 hours. That first day, you can eat you're bored with food. That's all you got. It's protein and fat.
And that was like really outlaw shit back then. Like
the things that man was called, what he endured, the heaped on him from the community of cardiologists. They backtracked at the end. He was profoundly and importantly ahead of his time. A hero.
Barry Sears.
Like a Florence. Have less deaths in your hospital, How about we clean this place?
And you're hanging with him and going around are you going around the country with him?
Yeah, we went everywhere. And
you do that for a year. Is it just the two of you?
No, there were other people, some kind of cool folks. I met some good people. In fact, the Eads, Michael and Mary Dan Eads, who to this day are even closer friends than Barry and I ever were. There was considerable interaction with them, between all of them, before I met any of them. Sears had spoken with Bob Atkins. I mean, the people that knew the truth about carbohydrate and its toxicity all knew each other. Maybe in the sense of knew of each other's work, but in many cases had been talking, but it was a small community. It was a minority. It did disproportionately well in book sales. And my father's truth rearing its head through industry. But I could take the books on the shelf. High carb, low fat, the Covert Bailey approach, and the Atkins approach, and the sales were 100-1 in the direction of the carb restriction, even though it was a minority position, chided.
God, we're only getting like half this, Greg, because your connection's still so fucked up.
Yeah.
That was some good shit too. That is interesting. How would you explain that? The book sale thing. If it's the minority position, why are the book sales so high on it?
I read Covert Bailey's book and eat nothing but pasta, and I don't come back with exciting things to tell my friends. I do what Atkins says, and dear God, I can't even believe it, but guess what? My psoriasis went away. That's not even in the book. That was when the Eats shared with me. They love that. People go, hey, I didn't even mention it to you. And Michael would go, what, the spot on your elbow? It's gone, huh? You noticed? Yeah, I did. But I didn't want to tell you that your psoriasis would go away if you reduced your carbohydrate intake.
God, crazy. And the whole, who's running the gym back in Santa Cruz at that time? Is Amon Morales holding down?
No. I'm kind of in between. Lauren's in there, Amon's there, and we had other help kind of quickly. Eva was coming around.
Eva, what was her last name? Twardokin. She was. That was the Olympian.
Yeah.
And then he boots you too.
I made regular and quick coaches of clients. So when we were doing seminars traveling around the world, we got to that point quickly, and I still was running a gym commercially. I had people that had been in the 5 a.m., 6 a.m. class for 5 years, 5 days a week, more than capable of unlocking the doors and telling everyone what to do. More than capable. Tara Guglielmo comes to mind. I mean, the first time she trained anyone, it was 15 people, and it was like she'd been doing it for 5 years. She'd been watching for 5 years, is what it was. It was a quick study. It was easy. Hey, to open your eyes, look around, care, and say something. It's not that hard.
Look around, care, and say something.
Yeah. I remember we dissected years ago and talking about training people and this difference between perspicuity and perspicacity. And I don't want to belabor that or even stretch my head and try and remember what was so delightful about that. But we found early that there were people that you could ask what the salient features, and I actually discovered this at one of our own training seminars with one of my own staff. And I asked him, so what are the, what's the essence of a clean? And he'd give me 4 or 5 points. And I'm watching his client, and the client's not meeting that criteria, and he's not seeing it. And it was an interesting thing, an interesting divide to get to the point where you see readily the thing that you can test for. It's the difference between me showing you a leaf and you say sweet gum, and driving down the road at 40 miles an hour pointing out the sweet gums. It's a real world example from last week here, by the way.
A perspicuity is when you something is easy to understand, and perspicacity is the ability to observe it and understand it. Was that the distinction?
Yeah, I think that's the sense in which we were looking at it.
Yeah, perspicacity is your insight into something when you see it or experience it. Perspicuity is about the object itself that you're looking at. How easy is it to understand it?
Yep.
And then you got kicked out of Claudio's joint.
Yep. He says that. Yep. And the problem was, he says that people come by to see the jiu-jitsu and they see us out on the sidewalk and they drive off. That they think they're going to have to do that crazy shit just to
Is that where you met? My kids went to Garth Taylor Jiu-Jitsu, and he had the story about how he couldn't win he would go down to Brazil and he couldn't win the world championship. And then he met you and he started doing CrossFit, and he went down there and won 3 world championships. The first white guy to do that in Brazil in the heavyweight category. Did you meet him at Claudio's or before then? Or after?
No, it was the jiu-jitsu people were coming over that were working with Claudio in that little place on Soquel, Claudio's first spot.
Uh-huh.
And so I watched Claudio's business grow from a tiny little place to a pretty good sized gym, pretty good sized dojo. And Garth was known to me at Spa Fitness Center at the time. And he was another one of those characters like Mike Weaver, like Eva T. Like we'd have guys running hard on a treadmill turned off, throwing sweat all over the windows and everybody. And I'm like, he's getting ready for the
So you were doing the air runner before there was the air runner.
Oh yeah, we were using the treadmills like plows forever.
Wow.
Forever.
And so he said,
internet here. Yeah, I thought I did.
You normally do. It's probably just the a bald eagle or something sat on the line. Hey, how many bald eagles have you seen?
We have a baby bald eagle here.
You have what?
We have a baby bald eagle here, and he's just showed up. He's been walking around in the trees. He's everywhere.
Oh, you sent me a picture of him. You sent me a picture of him when he's standing in the road looking at you. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's how it works. He wakes up one morning and mom and dad are gone. There's no learning to fly. There's no help. There's no, just like they disappear on his ass. And the neighbor said he'll live there in that nest his whole life. He'll never go anywhere.
Oh, they leave him the house.
Yeah, they just left him the house. It's his nest. Bye. He has no idea. He waits and waits. He squawked for 3 days. Then he fell out of the nest. Then he walked around for a day. Then he did some flying.
Yeah, he looks formidable already.
Dude, it gives you a look that makes you back up.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So he kicks you. So he basically says you're driving customers away.
And
Was there truth to that?
It sure could have been. Because look, I'm running one of the first Fight Gone Bad things we show. If you look at the people in the Fight Gone Bad, I've got Crazy Bob Cook, I've got BJ Penn. Everyone in the pictures is well known nationally or internationally in the fight scene, and them competing out in a parking lot would slow down traffic on Portola.
Right.
And I can imagine the kind of client I'm looking for in jiu-jitsu. And it was the very person they know they had trouble attracting, which was executives, right? A guy that doesn't want to get strong-armed, for his backpack, but has a job. And it's all possible. It's all likely.
When you left there, when he asked you to leave, is there drama?
None.
Like none.
What am I going to do? He's a 175-pound world champion jiu-jitsu guy. Kick his ass.
No, definitely not that.
What am I left with? You're out. Goodbye. Sorry, I love you.
Right.
And he's crying, just like Harry. Same thing. Tears and everything.
You have to go, buddy.
Yep.
And then this is the next place you move into? Is that BJ Penn? Who is that?
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, he's got hair.
He was such a joy to work with, to eat lunch with. I mean, it's hard to describe anything other than what sounds like a friend. But he is a friend, but everyone finds him enjoyable.
At this how about you? Are you scared? I mean, you're a trainer. It's got to be tough making ends meet. Santa Cruz isn't cheap to live in. Each time there's these transitions, are you panic on a personal level? Are you scared?
Not really.
No,
because remember, I was charging $75 an hour and giving away a third of it. Now I'm charging $75 at Claudio's, and I don't think I was paying him anything. It was insignificant.
Eaton Beaver says, "Good morning, Greg."
Good morning, sir.
BJ Penn has faced the who's who of MMA. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, I would think.
I think he's the first two-time champ. I think he's for sure a Hall of Famer.
You gotta have Garth on time. Sevi, have you ever had Garth on?
I had him on the CrossFit podcast when I was working for you, but I don't think I've had him on this show.
Garth needs to tell the story of the dude that attacked BJ Penn twice in one night.
At a bar or something?
Out drinking on Pacific Avenue in Santa Cruz. They got in a shoving match on the stairwell, and the boys, Garth included, saved this kid's life. And then an hour later, he came buffalo charging from 100 yards away, and everyone just watched. And it was like some UFC street shit. It was crazy, was the story. I wasn't there, so that's not my story to tell. But the beauty of the story is that there was follow-up with the guy like years later. And he was really excited to know that was BJ Penn that had done that to him, because he thought it was just some guy out on this.
Right.
Yeah, he got stomped. He got the ground and pound. I mean, it was like you need a big John McCarthy there or something.
Hey, that's the difference between boys and girls. Boys are kind of proud if you get your ass beat on the street and you find out it's some famous fighter.
You'd sure rather. I get it. I didn't need that explained to me.
Right, I get it too.
And it adds also an element of stupidity to what you did.
Right. Well, you never had a chance. You never had a chance.
You don't know who's out there, and this is part of the advantages of being a good person.
Hey, Santa Cruz is a dangerous place to. Santa Cruz is a dangerous place to pick a fight. It's
thick with black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Hey, there was a period in the lineup at Steamers at the Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Where once a week some surfer would get rendered unconscious and drug ashore and beached, and whoever did it would go back out and catch waves again.
For those of you who don't know, when Greg refers to steamers, I'll show you what he's talking about. This is the one of the big surf spots here in Santa Cruz. Yeah, Greg, when I was filming 2008 or 9, I was filming with Allison NYC there, something for CrossFit, and we were right there. And I pulled my camera out of the car and with Carrie Peterson, and 2 guys came over to me and they're like told us we can't film their waves. You can't film our waves.
I got a phone number for you when that happens, and you just make a call to Joey Thomas. And there's nobody out there that doesn't know that old man owns the sand, the rocks, the beach, the parking lot, all the surfers out there and their boards. When Garth was a kid, people would come over from San Jose and however they ran afoul of the pack, Joey would just get out there and point to the transgressor. And Garth says all the little Groms had stashes of rocks up on the cliffs in the bushes. You'd got to keep your stash of rocks. And there would just be this Greek-like rain of rocks from the cliffs at the guy that got pointed at. And the guy would invariably get off and then chase the kids, at which point Joey would get out of the water and run the dude down and beat him up, and they'd call the cops because he attacked kids. And the cops would come, who also were all friends of all of theirs, and arrest the guy for attacking kids, and he would get drug off, and then they'd destroy the guy's automobile. So you've been pelted with rocks, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't go back, and you don't ever surf there again, and you tell 10 people about it, and they don't go there.
It was they've been at this a long time. JT been out on those waves for a long time. He's also black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was some serious trip. How were there like 87 black belts come out of Santa Cruz?
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's crazy. And you think that it's just a mill? Not really. No, man.
No, they're all savages.
Yeah. I know PhD chemists. I mean, look, John Frankel, who I believe was perhaps Tenzo Gracie's first black belt, came out of Santa Cruz as well. The interest in jiu-jitsu is 20 years old in Santa Cruz, 25 years old. It predates UFC dramatically.
I'm looking up his name. See if I can find him.
Greg, when you moved from the jiu-jitsu place to the other spot in Santa Cruz there, did you at any point in time through those moves were you like, holy shit, I'm on to something here? Or did you kind of know almost right away?
There was a desperation to all of it until we got at Research Park and you saw that final place. And there was something about paying the lease where for the first time ever, I felt like I was in business. It was weird. It shouldn't have felt that way, but it did. And the pride was immense. And the rent was easy. It was easy to make. It was way
that
less.
was kind of proof of concept. There was a psychological piece there all of a sudden. Like you grew up. It was a rite of passage.
Here's the thing. When I asked myself where my clients came from, I would say, well, other clients bought them. But the clients they brought were clients that were very often also members at Spa Fitness Center. So I wasn't sure what the originating gym's contribution was to the health and growth of my practice. And it turned out it was negative, not positive. And new clients came from old clients, and they didn't have to already belong to anything. I suspected that might be true, but you really don't know. Hey, the number of people I saw and met that had plans for escaping the working for the gym model, often these plans wouldn't work on paper. And so they were going to leave the gym where people are paying $29.95 a month, and they're going to charge $29.95 a month and try and do so in 1,000 square feet with a $3,000 a month rent. And you're like, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. That model you can't take the big box model and cut it down to 5% and have something even close to supporting a professional wage. And so the CrossFit movement was was fundamentally, if you want to keep circling back to something in terms of business or economics, it was a professionalization of the training space. I'm taking this kid that's wearing a polo shirt, told what to do and how to do it, teaching them some essential skills for the transformation of the human body into something better and healthier, and pushing away a lot of the trappings that you'd see in the big box. And it worked. It worked. With 15,000 small businesses, each of them delivering demonstrable health at a level that wasn't matched by anything else in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that, listen to that. I mean, do you hear business in there? It's barely a business. It's barely a business, but it had sustainability and it had profitability.
Mm-hmm.
But so does the Catholic Church. I mean, if you ask yourself, is it old? Does it make money? Like, yeah, I think it does. Is it a business? I would say it's not, and I'm no Catholic, but I would tell you that it's fundamentally not a business also.
Right.
The Catholic Church also doesn't have, this is a really important distinction, doctors taking their clients there to save them. So this guy went to school for 12 years, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get tools to save people's lives, and yet he still takes them to the CrossFit gym to get healthy. Crazy. Fucking nuts. That's the demonstrable part. Sorry, go ahead.
You wrap yourself around the idea that the etiology of chronic disease is excessive consumption of refined carbohydrate leveraged with sedentarism, and then the chronic disease itself are the symptoms of that, the manifestation of that. And it's a medical problem only in the sense of this set of symptoms. But the underlying etiology still is what it is. And so in the end, in terms of cure, solution, resolution, that isn't medical. It's lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could make the argument that the whole of it is psychological, because those behaviors, the sedentarism and the gluttonous consumption of carbohydrate, those are both look obviously to be addictive behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Karn Thompson went through the vast carb-aware camp and found common ground with all of them in the single issue of carbohydrate consumption to health ruin is an addiction. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about being addicted to sugar. And that not one person found a relationship or alliance with her difficult. No one challenged that. Not Tim Noakes, not Zoe Harcombe, not me, not Jason Fung, not Ufi Ravenskov, nobody. None of us. Fetke, no. Not one says, no, it's not an addiction. I don't know, man, it's a recurring, repetitive behavior that even on awareness of the destructive impact, you don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unreal that we've had clients that come in that know they need to stop. All the health markers are trending in a downward direction. They're sitting there crying, telling you, what can I do? And 2 weeks later, they're back to the same diet that they were before. I mean, it's just the same thing as it would be an addiction to anything else, to where you want to stop. You see the thing that's happening to your health, and you're still reaching for the bag of chips. You still just can't stop yourself from doing it.
Sometimes, Matt, you'd see the failure coming when a person would ask after going through, 2 weeks ago, they were crying at the improvements. And then they come at you with, so, okay, how long do I have to eat like this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, shit. You can go right back today. I mean.
Yep. Yeah. I had it so strong that I once had a client, and I'm not even kidding here, first told me right away day one, because usually in the on-ramp course, we talk about it, added sugars and refined carbohydrate. I get them looking at the food label. And the lady looked at me and she got very serious. She goes, "You're not taking away my Diet Coke." I said, "Okay, no worries. No one's going to take away the Diet Coke." And we got her just focused on the exercise, and she was moving. And about a week into it, as we still had the discussion, she literally showed up with a doctor's note. as to why the movement wasn't good for her. And
Oh,
she wasn't
shit.
comfortable around the discussions of the getting rid of the soda, because once I find out that if you're an avid soda drinker, that's the first thing that we attack is get rid of the liquid sugar, get rid of the sodas.
You ever get a doctor's note from a client, Greg?
I've been asked to call a doctor, and have
Fight
some
with him?
memorable instances of that. I had a client whose oncologist invited me to a mutual friend's house for dinner, and the oncologist was looking to meet with me.
That's a cancer doctor, oncologist?
Yeah. And she threw up some chest x-rays at a kitchen window, just, not even a light box, right? And asked me if I knew what I was looking at. And I said, yeah, it's lungs with spots in them. And she goes, yeah. She says, it's that cluster of grapes. It's not good. And then she's got another one, and there's just a couple of them and some kind of whitish spots where they were. And she goes, you know what's going on here? And I said, fewer. And she goes, yeah, it's a full-blown active remission going on here. And she goes, so what's going on? And I told her, that's your field, not mine. I just changed what's in her shopping cart. And I was concerned more about her, in totality. I know that the carbohydrate toxicity provides advantage to no organ system. Doesn't help your sleep, the way you think. Doesn't increase your bench press. You don't have better bowel movements. There's no upside. It has all the charm of fentanyl addiction, including sudden death.
Jacqueline Robinson, $50. Thanks, Jacqueline. That's awesome. I missed the live, so here's my behind the scenes donations. That's kind of you. The only reason I have money to donate is because CrossFit changed every part of my life, including my financial. Thank you for changing my life.
Oh, that's sweet.
Dude, thanks for always being here, by the way, Jacqueline. Sevan's dog. Coach, we dogs always knew about sugar. Oh.
Okay.
Fair enough. I think. Thank you for the insight. Weird
I had a client bet me once $1 million. He was trying to bet me $1 million that my dog, my pit bull, would eat his candy bar, his French chocolate. I knew there was no way the dog would take the chocolate. There's no way. I knew it. And I was just about to reach out and grab his big hand when it hit me what an unlivable hell it would be to train this man for free until $1 million were erased out of the debt. And I didn't. And I told him, dude, I wouldn't survive training you for free for $1 million until $1 million was spent. And remember, this is the guy that would leave me waiting 6 hours a day, right? And I was getting paid 2x for that. So I'm like, and so he's damn. So he threw his piece of French chocolate on the ground anyways. That was like giving away the $1 million scratcher to someone. Did that come in?
No, you broke up. We just heard that I think the chocolate was thrown on the ground.
Do I have a house full of people streaming here? Is that my problem? Maybe.
No. Oh.
Streaming.
Oh. Yeah. You got 15 iPhones on your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. Shawshik fit.
Let me
Nice
finish
dog.
while I'm here. The dog didn't take the chocolate right after I refused the handshake.
Oh.
I was right. So I threw $1 million away. He would have paid me too. He would have paid me.
Wow. How significant would that $1 million have been at that time?
Oh, huge.
That one probably sat with you for a little bit.
I probably would have quit training him.
Happy birthday to the best. I love you, Greg. Thanks for creating an amazing community of excellent and hardworking people. You changed my life 15 years ago. I'm old school.
You're very welcome, and thank you.
And you're still pretty. Olsen dudes. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Matt. Keep bringing all the awesome content and conversations. Absolutely. Thank you for your generous donation. Here's the Jake Chapman with Jake. You're crazy. Jake, Sevi, does Greg think Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been a decent CrossFitter?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah. He was, we got free space at the Arnold. You can pay a fortune at the Arnold. We got the top spot. And Arnold launched our workout, and he couldn't have been more kind. And he seemed to truly get it.
So I want to go back. So you move into Research Circle, Research Park Drive, and there is some sort of psychological component there that you're like, oh shit, my shit can float itself. I have my own space. It's paying rent. It's like, oh, you have a rite of passage moment.
It was so interesting to me that I actually went down to Capitola Book Cafe, and I thought, now that I'm a businessman, I have a business. Because you know what, my next door neighbor is a muffler shop, and right, look what we got going on here. And so I went and looked at the business books, and I came home empty-handed because everything was about what we'd call marketing, about the way you would advertise, promote, or attract customer, and there was nothing on the essence of improving a product or service. Nothing. And so I thought, wow. And what happened is I had to create that for myself.
And my sister here is saying that's also a time when Greg didn't even have a car, and that's true too, right?
That's all true.
You ride your bike to the gym.
Yep.
Tank Reeve also throws in Arnold Schwarzenegger also said screw your freedom in regards to the COVID injections. He did that too. He
Screw your freedoms.
The line is that politics make for strange bedfellows, and here I am now, have found myself several times in very friendly conversation with RFK Jr. And he and I we could argue on probably everything you could imagine politically, except the horrors of a U.S. funded development of a vaccine for profit on in the creation of the virus, and the no need for the vaccine perhaps anyways, the destruction of our schools, the erosion of our liberties. I mean, these aren't small issues. Mm-hmm. But fuck Arnold for that. He's a nice guy. You hear what I'm saying? He was nice.
Yeah.
And I think he understood it, and I think he could have done well at the games, just like all the other games champions. I mean, that's what I can say about them. They've been nice, and
most of them. Brandon Lecoq. He was on the show the other day. He gave away some free tickets. Here's to the behind the scenes fund. Hearing everyone's story yesterday was incredible. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for giving away those free tickets. Greg, are you going to the games?
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm going to be there. I'm not. I'll remind everyone: there's nothing more exciting to me than participating in the incredible transformation that comes about through what it is that we do. And few things as boring as watching someone exercise, And so I'm not, I got a lot of cars, but I'm not into motorsports. You know what I mean? It's, what can I tell you? The games were never that interesting to me. When we made the thing truly international, that was interesting to me. I mean, my greatest games moment was when I actually delayed the start of the games because there were 100 black people with flags. I couldn't even tell. Reebok made uniforms and I couldn't see what country. So I had to recognize the country, from Africa that none of us could point out on a map by its flag. And I took the time to actually find out. So I'm sorry, I don't recognize the flag. Where are you from? And that was cool. That was cool. It felt like a grown-up product at that point. Mm-hmm. We had global inclusion, and we also, there was zero dilution. Schmucko was still going to win, It didn't alter anything. And we had people from.
But he's a nice schmucko. He's a nice schmucko. He's nice.
Holy shit!
Hey,
yeah,
so
he didn't.
I can't wait to talk to you after the game.
When Rogan says that he made me millions of dollars.
Yeah,
that was the stupidest things any games champion's ever said.
It's gonna be fun talking to you after the game. So are you going there just to say hi to friends? Is that what you're going there to see affiliates? Like, what are you doing there? Why are you going there? I kind of can't believe you're going there.
Like Dale King got a campsite for me.
Super affiliate, business owner.
And Craig Howard wants me to be there. And Daniel Chaffee's coming from France, even though he's resigned from the country managers. He's still going to work the affiliate lounge and would like for me to be there. And so I love all those people. And if I could cruise through and not have to, keep moving, it'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Hey.
So my plan is to leave here on the 3rd, be there the 4th, and come back on the 5th.
Let me ask you some of the crazy questions people ask me, because I'm going to go to the games this year too. Is any part of you nervous after kind of being out of the scene for a while?
No. It's just in this regard, and nervous probably doesn't describe it right. You've told me that I'm going to be miserable.
Yeah, I tried to talk him out of going.
and I know you well enough.
Yeah.
And you know me well enough. After you tell me that, I don't want to go for 48 hours.
Right.
And then people talk me back into it again. And so, there's a little bit of nervousness that I'm going to be fucking miserable. But the other thing is, it's only 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't get anything. It's a hard thing to have strangers tell you that they love you. And if you love that, there's something wrong with you. If you need that, there's seriously something Hollywood Walk of Fame wrong with you.
Well, I also know you don't like to be kind of like held hostage or trapped somewhere. You like to, and there's gonna be a situation where you're gonna be like,
I really don't.
It's gonna be a lot.
It used to be what I just saw as the job,
right?
And
well, it was your baby. They were your kids. It was your what's that called? A mom has her brood. It was your brood. I guess it still is sort of your brood.
I watched Bob Harper stand on an intersection and shake hands and hug people and talk to them. And at each instance, he stayed there talking until they broke. We did that one day for 3 hours.
I've seen you do that at events.
I understood it. I commend him for it. I get where when you do what he does, you kind of have to, whether you're an athlete or an actor, or in my sense, my values is that you have that obligation professionally, personally, and ethically to the support. But if you need it for your soul, or if you're getting off on it, it's a different thing. Mm-hmm. Hey, Axel Pfluger had a woman rush him at his temple after services one day, and she had been in a coma at the Mayo Clinic. And she remembered all the nice things he said to her. And she had worked hard to find him within the system and couldn't, so found him outside. Tracked him down from the internet to his temple. Isn't that a great story?
That is a great story. For those of you who don't know who Axel Pfluger is a PhD, MD, who ran at the Mayo Clinic the most successful diabetes a treatment center, type 2 diabetes treatment center for like 16 years straight or some crazy shit. And he reached out to Greg and said, I'd like to meet with you. And so Greg flew out to Boston, and I flew with Greg to meet him. And he's the one who, he said, holy fuck, dude. Greg's like, what? He goes, I run the most successful type 2 diabetes treatment center in the world for 13 years in a row. And you actually, through CrossFit, have the cure for the world's most vexing problem. And Greg said, how do you know that? And he fucking pulled up a whole PowerPoint presentation for Greg, going through all the journal articles. What are those things that they used to have in the old days on the internet? Message boards. And it was just fucking, it was a torrential downpour of fucking people's lives who'd been saved from CrossFit. And it was crazy. It was like we were all blown back. And I have that footage somewhere when he presented that to you. It was nuts. And the guy fucking left. The guy left probably one of the most prestigious positions anyone could ever have in the type 2 diabetes world. And remember, PhD, MD. Maybe he was a double MD.
He was board certified in nephrology, cardiology, and internal medicine, and was a PhD pharmacologist.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
that changed the course for all of us. By the way, that meeting, that's one of those meetings that Greg was like that shifted CrossFit a degree. That super just imagine someone coming and telling Greg that Greg left that meeting and never came back to planet Earth. It was crazy.
Did you have an idea that was happening, Greg, before that? And that was just the collection of it in one?
Greg had been talking about it.
Yes, but I also felt that it would be possible to have a cure for pancreatic cancer, a line a mile long of people waiting to get the cure, and the trailing line of cured 5 miles long, and the world never noticed. I thought that could also happen. You could have a solution to the world's most vexing medical problem, and no one ever noticed except those cured. And to find someone from that high a position, so articulate on the matter, and his evidence being material from our own message board. So we got a thread with 500 posts on macular degeneration. It was interesting, the kinds of things that he had found. 1 second, I got to stop this. Just a second.
I think you
don't kick the dog. Josh Lehrman, or my California farmer, missed the live last night. More for the behind the scenes fun. Also love hearing Greg. I know this is great, isn't it? I had no idea what we were going to talk about today. I told Suze I was tripping. I was like, fuck, I got nothing for him. Sarah Cox, $49.99. Thank you.
Hi,
God, Sarah, I'm so pumped.
Thank you.
Okay, so the you could have a line for the cure. It would be 1,000 miles. Oh, did we get the new QR code for California peptides?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, I'll send her a text now. Okay, go. Do you remember where you were, Greg, in regards to Fluger and if they were asking, did you suspect you had the cure?
Yeah, we had a lot of instances of it, but I didn't think that it would be likely that anyone would notice on the established medicine side of the fence. And in fact, I already come across several hundred physicians. We had made our own estimation that there was probably an average of 3 physicians in each box, at least as a minimum. And what I did, and you probably remember that, for quite a while, I would ask people, how many docs in your box? And what I found was there were some morons that didn't know. And that's also a box. Good. It's nice in your box, man. I don't even know what people do for a living. It's never come up, But, the lowest number I ever heard was 3, and Craig Howard had like 21 or something. And so I said, okay, 3 super safe. And I got 7,000 affiliates. That's 21,000 doctors who've pulled their heads out of their asses, wiped the shit out of their eyes, and have seen something that is wonderfully diametrically crazy opposed to the norm, to the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And it was networking them that was actually paying off. In fact, I can't unnetwork them. So the CrossFit docs still hit me up like I'm still running the show and have inputs and want to know what's going on.
Hey, that makes you a massive threat to pharma. There's no question that basically doctors are pharma's army.
Yeah, here's Sevi putting a target on my back.
I mean, there's no question. I've shown it so many times on this show that doctors were getting $170 to $5 a person per injection kickbacks.
But nothing. I've had nowhere near the impact of RFK Jr. For those of you in pharma listening.
He did it.
Yeah, check out that guy over there. He's
Oh my God.
he's the real culprit.
So
Sure.
So there's this at one of Greg's houses, we're in the backyard, and he goes, Sevi, look over there. And I look over there at his neighbor's house, and there's a biggest building I've ever seen build in a neighborhood. And I go, what is that? And he goes, it looks like the dude's building a fucking Walgreens in his backyard. And I go, I know, it's fucking crazy. What is that? And he goes, it's a basketball stadium. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, so fucking the local neighborhood pros will come over and play with him and his kids. So he's building a fucking basketball stadium in his backyard. I go, what's that guy do? He's like, pharma. I'm just like, well, fucking A.
I've got another neighbor on the street that has a basketball court that the Suns play at regularly, indoor. He's also got a skate park, Doug, and he's given all the neighbor kids the code, and he's got a camera, and there's some pretty strict boundaries from the property, when you're off limits and lose rights. But the real thing is no helmet, and he's going to shut it down for everyone. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat neighbors.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That pharma shit, man, that'll make you some loot.
Hey, promote Gotzsche's book on pharma.
Tell me
Pharma and organized crime, something to that effect. Peter Gotzsche, friend of ours, we brought him out to Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I should have him on.
PhD. He got canceled.
He even took the shot so he could travel, right?
No. That was Malcolm Kendrick took the slab jab so he could go to his ski home in France.
He's crazy.
That's insane.
That's insane.
It is. That's how much he likes skiing.
That's insane too. Spell Gotzsche for me. Is there a Z in it? Oh,
yeah. Gotzche. There you go. Deadly Medicines and Organized Crime.
Hey, Greg, can you get him on for me?
I believe so.
Okay. Sorry, just to ask you that on the spot.
I'm going to make a little bit of amends for radio silence first, so give me some time.
Really? He's upset at you because you didn't return a call or something?
I'm a couple of emails behind.
Okay.
But he took on mammography intelligently. He's taken on the HPV vaccine brilliantly, the Gates Foundation wonderfully, psych meds for peds successfully. And when I met him before there was COVID, and any of us even thought about cancer, I'm good, dude, you're going to get whacked. And then he did. He got not whacked, but they said he was guilty of inappropriate behavior in the lab with females and present. Nothing ever came of it or mentioned, but that rumor and innuendo got him kicked from the Cochrane collaboration. And John Ionati said it was a travesty that he was the most important medical researcher in all of Europe. He was one of the co-founders of the Cochrane collaboration. But he had gone against the grain, probably to the tune of trillions of dollars. Trillions. I mean, you start taking on psych meds, oncology, vaccine industry, right?
Yeah, you're in trouble. Yeah, you're fucking
all in pharma, calling them organized crime. I think it's John Le Carre, was influenced by that book so profoundly that one of his super stories is a more exciting and dynamic and worthy of a movie kind of action story where a pharma executive's wife is killed. I don't know and I might even have my author wrong. You guys can figure that out. But it was interesting to learn that the book had been an inspiration, that the author was so so upset by what's in that thing.
I just looked him up on Audible too. It's funny. I wonder if he's not allowed on there.
It's not an audible version.
No,
Oh,
not even as not even as like a download. I want to go back and see if I can pick this thread back up. So then you're at Research Park. I want to try to get to that question that Sue's answered. And when do you know that you're so excited that it's one gym and you're paying your rent and you're able to get new inner tubes for your bike and maybe buy a pickup truck? But when do you know that, like, oh shit, this thing's about to run away? This thing's about to just like explode.
You know, it 15 or 20 affiliates. I've got people like TJ Cooper telling me stories that I recognize. And he's telling me, you're not going to believe it, but I got a lady that had diabetes and now she doesn't, you know?
And this is years before meeting Pfluger. Now we're talking 2005, right? Okay.
2002.
Okay. 2002. Okay.
I got brand new fledgling affiliates. We don't even have 30 of them. And I got Tony Budding and Nicole Carroll running my affiliate program.
Is CrossFit using the Impact font by that time? Is that official or?
You know, when the journal launched, we launched that with a set of fonts that we licensed from Gil Sands. Last time I had trouble with his name. What had happened was that my artist, I told him that I really liked the font and the style and much of the presentation of Cook's Illustrated. That when they were showing a final production, the ta-da moment, it was a photograph, but all processes were illustrations. And the process illustrated better than it photographed. And look at these cool fonts. And then Otto comes back and he goes, there's actually like 6 or 7 different fonts, and they all remind me of Gil Sands. So he called Cook's Illustrated and they said, we paid Gil Sands for those fonts. So then we asked Gil Sands if we could license those fonts. And he says, if Cook's Illustrated doesn't care. And so we did. And so it's more than just Impact. There were 10 or 11 fonts that were used in Cook's Illustrated that we used in the CrossFit Journal. And the variance was subtle. It was pretty neat. You know, we had really good talent in Otto Lejeune. He's the guy that first drew Pukey.
Oh.
He said he wouldn't, that he'd ruin his reputation, that he makes logos for serious business, and that's no serious business would have a barfing clown. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck you then. We'll find a different artist, you Canadian asshole. And he came back and he goes, okay, I'll do it. And my wife, though, she wants to colorize it. She wants to put the colors in. And I go, you bet. When they were done, I go, you geniuses, mad geniuses. Perfect. I got my vomiting clown. But he's the same one that walked us down that font path. And I do believe that the layout of the early journals is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. We have a little bit of an emergency here. I apologize for the interruption to the show. Golf Foxtrot Yankee. Can you ask Greg his thoughts on C4? That's an energy drink. While I stand on the edge of a 3-story building waiting. Don't do it. Don't do it. Greg, what do you think about energy drinks?
I don't have an important opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Greg, when you had those first clients, were you initially like tracking everything that was happening with them as you were putting in the inputs and giving them the workouts? Were you documenting that whole time, which then started to become the collection for you to be able to extract the definition of CrossFit out of that? Or
I had carb files and on every client, and when they'd come in, I would require of the trainer to document everything you did and what the results were. And we regularly made computations on that. And we were doing 11 site expensive stainless steel skin fold caliper body fat testing and sending people out for lipid profiles and doing all that shit, getting them hydrostatically weighed annually, all that shit. And pretty soon it turned into all that shit and less training. you think of that line a mile long, and you're going, wow, and they don't have pancreatic cancer and they're leaving. You could slow down the whole effort by trying to prove to those that don't want to see that it's actually working.
Mm.
And I had a couple of physicians. One was a Dr. Sevan. What's the nice doctor in Santa Cruz? Berg?
I can't remember.
Bruce is his first name. But anyways, Eisendorf, I believe. Someone will remember from the days. But he came by and looked through our suite. This was interesting. One of his nurses was talking about cholesterol. And I showed her some triglyceride changes and things from people that had taken blood lipids. And she said, if my doctor had seen this, he would be in here talking to you. And I go, what's his name? And she said, I think it was Bruce Eisendorf. And I said, well, trip on this. It is Bruce Eisendorf's patient. And so he did appear in my office the next day. And I left him with about 2 feet of peer-reviewed material to read and showed him what we were doing. And he became at once convinced. And then he's coming to me saying, how do you get people to understand? He's got the same problem. I've got a convert of one in a doctor convinced. That's part of how I met Jim Baker, was through Bruce Eisendorf. He was a patient of his. How do you like that for tie-in?
Caller, thanks for being so patient. Go ahead.
I had a question for Greg Glassman. With Hiller coming out with his podcast and everything going on with CrossFit, is this where he thought it would be today when he started this years ago?
Where CrossFit is today?
Right, with his, I guess, opinion of where the judges are, the coaching, all the YouTube videos coming out showing all this coaching going on. I mean, these people are showing what they're doing. The whole trajectory of where you thought CrossFit would be when you started it years ago.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the and pleased with the extent of its success and spread, without a doubt. And I hope it would maintain its health organizationally. But the magic happens at the local level. It happens at the box, and it's that young man, young woman that's getting up at 4 a.m., having a high-speed breakfast with caffeine and making their way to the box to unlock the door, flip on the lights and the music, and double check the bathroom for cleanliness. It's that individual's relationship with the membership that is really the whole of this thing. And as you build up from there, what you do is you can just add on layers of distraction or destruction or annoyance, frankly. And that would include all SKUs, whether it's a bottle of water, a bar, a pair of shoes. We for the longest time were giving away our T-shirts. Give them away. And this is when I would print
at level ones, or
no. Kind of a pre-level one, just CrossFit
just
shirts for the CrossFit box. Yeah.
Caller, thank you. I don't think there was any way though that you could have predicted what happened, just because you couldn't predicted the rise of Google, YouTube, cell phones, right? I mean, there was this intersection that all of humanity had with not just CrossFit, but that humanity's had with technology that's like changed everything.
Yeah, I use the example of curling. That funny thing you do on the ice where you brush the ice and the thing goes down.
Yeah.
I don't know what brushing the ice does, and I didn't know most of what I did would do. And so I just put all my energy into availing a product and service that I would get in line for. And is that enough? Who knows? But it did work. And I've read of others that have had success in tech or business, serial success. articulate much of the same kind of thoughts, including the late Mr. Jobs. You know, like when he was a kid, he wanted a Dick Tracy fucking watch, right? So
Right.
He put the world onto the path, and now we all have them.
So you get to 30 affiliates, and at that point you're starting to think, oh, this thing's going to go to 100 affiliates. Like this thing's going to leap over the pond.
You know, we got to a point, there was a constant effort. Tony Budding is head of the affiliate program, and his lovely assistant, Nicole Carroll. I couldn't convince Tony that his job was to be eyes, ears, support, to keep us all connected, and not to tell them how to run their gyms, because he was gifted with knowledge on a subject for which he had no experience. And we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. He knew everything they should do and why and how they should do it. And I didn't have that answer. And so that's when my sister came on, and we, you know, let's truly have affiliate support.
So, okay. And what year was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, first affiliate is 2001, so probably 3 or 4.
Do you remember looking in your bank account one day?
It'd have been later than that. I don't know when Kathy came on.
Do you remember looking in your bank account one day and there's I don't know, $112,000 in there, and you're like, in all your bills are paid, and you're like, holy fuck, what the fuck is going on? Did you just have your head down? You didn't even know what, and you were just grinding.
I deliberately flew close to the trees. And so if a whole lot of money showed up, we'd be getting a whole lot of things, doing a whole lot of stuff. And,
like visiting affiliates, buying equipment.
Keep the affiliate fees low.
Keep affiliate fees low.
Yeah. Expand them when, you know, those grew when we had to, and never did we raise anyone's rate. So there are people paying $500. I assume they've allowed that to continue, paying $500 a year because that was their buy-in.
You never raised a single affiliate's rate?
Not once.
But there had to have been a moment where, or maybe it wasn't a moment. There was never a moment when you were like, oh shit, this is, did it take until you sold the business to where you were like, wow, I got on this thing and it was a fucking go-kart and I'm getting off now. It's a fucking International Space Station.
I was skimming a fraction of a percent all along. And at some point that turned into a considerable income. But there wasn't an MBA anywhere that didn't think I shouldn't have been in possession of hundreds of millions of dollars long before anyone thought my half of 1% was you know, people thought I was an asshole for buying an airplane. Brian Kelly thought I was a moron because it wasn't a G5.
Right. But I'm not even talking about.
He had a formula for it. There was a formula for the G5 and not the King Air.
Brian Kelly, by the way, was the guy who tried to buy the company from Greg through Greg's ex-wife and tried to use the legal system to do it. It was fucking nuts. But I'm not talking about the money. I'm even talking like, I knew you when you were like, I remember there was a period where you're like, I'm going to meet every single affiliate owner. And then like a month later, I see you at fucking 4 a.m. and I will come downstairs and you're like, dude. And you're like, what? Like, I'm not going to live long enough to meet every affiliate owner. And you're tripping. So like, there's got to be moments like that where you're like, this thing is just exploding. Right? Was there any moment where you were like, holy shit? Or like where your dad's like, hey, I'm proud of you. Or like something happens where you're just like, what the fuck just happened? I was just at Research Park and I'm not.
I'm seeing in the daily receipts, amount of money flow through that exceed daily my life's earnings.
right.
And it's like and the instinct I didn't have was to throw a net out in front of that shit. I didn't.
Right.
And if I were to do it again, I probably would.
Right.
I probably would. If I had taken more money from the business, I could have sold it for a lot more than 200 million.
Mm.
And what people saw that got attracted to this thing, the thing that made the shit flies come around, was the fact that this thing, that HQ sat astride a multi-billion-dollar empire and pulled but 150 mil a year from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's made no sense to the kids from Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
None. And so their thought was they're going to get their hands on this thing and then squeeze that out of it. But what it requires is that 15,000 of your affiliates stick around in significant numbers, willing to be your point of presence, surrender their professionalization of the training space to be pinching shoes a la Foot Locker and selling bullshit piss aid and calling it it's good for your fitness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard sell.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're selling, what's being sold there is reputation. What you're selling is the brand, is in spending it. And I don't think it's a win. I can see if you said, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about, coach. Q2, Q3, it's going to be big. Okay, I got it. I'm thinking year 3, year 4. Because those are the very things that would cause me to leave. But remember, I built the thing that I would come and stay for. So I'm so self-referential. No one should take much of my opinion on this. But every affiliate that came around for the reasons that I would have come around, it probably at this point is, I would think, would be asking some of the hard questions. I'm hearing they are. And I don't have an answer for that. Mr. Fall, a friend, he's got a tough position. That's a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing. There's no entity that doesn't want him to wring dollars from SKUs.
Do you ever dream that you're still running the company?
You know, it's funny. In the asking of that, I was reminded. I dreamed I was still a gymnast for 10 years afterwards, where I'd be standing there with the gymnasts do this thing where they stand with the back of the hand to the hip to keep the chalk off your clothes. You know, you don't stand with your hands on your hips. You use the back of your hand.
Oh, yeah. I've actually seen you stand like that.
I find myself in that. I spent 12 years standing around not rubbing chalk all over my dick.
Holy shit. I didn't know that's why they did that. Wow. Okay.
It's a giveaway for a gym.
And any CEO dreams?
None. No.
None.
No. I did. That wasn't an enjoyable thing for me.
Hey,
and you know what? I'm glad I was chased from the throne because I wasn't going to walk away.
Right.
And being chased, I'm like, really? You know, fine. The phases of what denial, acceptance, all that was a 30-minute deal. The whole run.
The car ride home, and you went through all the stages. So you're good.
I'm like, Maggie, what would life be like with $200 million?
You process that quickly.
I worry about money all the time. Not my money, not the company's money, but fluctuations in the business dynamic that made no sense of employees. It's in some positions. That's that.
Greg, have you? This is from RB. Has Greg watched the turtle races at the brewery in Coeur d'Alene? Plywood oval track, $1 off beers. If you
I
pick the
would
winner.
totally go to that.
Me too. Where is that? Have you heard of that? Can you find that, Caleb? Turtle races in Coeur d'Alene? I'm headed up there in September. I'll go to do that.
Yeah, we'll go to that.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you where the games came from. I said, anything you can measure, you can compete and race. And they said, what do you mean? I said, let me show you. We'll do this out at your ranch, Davey.
Oh, shit. There it is. The tap house.
Right? If you can measure it, you can have competitions, you can have races.
Yeah.
What's that?
Hey, you know
Oh,
what? You know, the cool
look
thing
at
to
that
do is to
turtle
train
net.
turtles.
That's like a turtle net. What would be cool, Greg? To train turtles to what?
We should train turtles and drug them. And find out what the games people are on.
Oh,
Have them push sleds and shit and bring them down there. Have some like. Maybe even do some hybrid shit, right?
yeah.
Like, God, it looks like one of those red-eared turtles, but look at his legs, you know?
Hey, Greg, this is an interesting question. If I came to Coeur d'Alene, are you interested in making any content together, like letting people see what you're doing with your life, or is that shit private now?
I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, you know, Sebi, I love the you know, we get to hang and talk, and this is how you make your living. And we used to hang and talk like this, and it's how you made your living.
Right.
And
right.
and I think there's more independence here. I think what you're doing is more important. I think it would be more fun. I mean, I would have thought that Danny Bowflex would be like a low point for you and your ambition as a filmmaker. I hated that shit like I can't even fucking tell you.
That was me. I'm taking your business advice and running with it, giving people opportunities.
It was good. It was. I like that kid too. You should have made some footage around his chronic virginity.
Yes, his virginity. We made a little bit.
We had Ep.6 going. I'll fix that problem. Like, there's some behind the scenes. You don't even have to show anything. Look, he's going to go in a virgin. He comes out other.
And you see what's different.
Yeah.
Inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm headed off to tennis. Quick, that was an easy 90 minutes.
Thank you. You guys are great, and all your fans are wonderful. All the kind words are cool, and everyone just keep doing what you're doing because you're the strongest force for health that we've seen in modern times.
No, thank you.
Yeah, CrossFitters, the CrossFit coaches in hygiene, you know, not shitting where you're making dinner and going to the CrossFit gym are probably about 80% of what could have been done or has been done. And I'm going to throw the docs a bone. Thank you for your antibiotics and trauma surgery.
Rambler, we will.
They're good on the axes, right? Kinetic, genetic, microbial.
Yes. Next week, Greg will be back on. We will pick up where we left off about Greg's opinions on semen retention. I'm sorry we didn't get to your question today. All right, everyone. Greg, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, guys.
Love you. Thanks for always doing this. Makes my day.
Happy birthday.
Oh, shit. Yeah, happy birthday. Greg Glassman. Holy shit. I was panicking like today's show. Like, what were we going to talk about? I didn't even get to my notes. That's good.
Okay. I was like waiting to see where you're going to go because I always have so many questions that I could probably just keep going.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even know where to start.
I wanted to ask him about Joe Biden, the Biden corruption.
Yeah, I probably stayed on the CrossFit thread.
We don't have any more shows tonight?
Nope.
Okay.
It's your rest day.
Let me know if we have to schedule someone tonight. Any athletes? David, holy shit. David's been getting soft. I think David's been microdosing mushrooms. The compliments have been pouring out of him lately.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Maybe he had a near-death experience or something.
He's seen the light.
Okay. Today I will be setting up my cameras for the first time and taking them on a full test run. I'll be putting on my straps and everything. I'll actually get dressed in my behind the scenes gear. I'm kind of excited.
Oh, maybe I should come today then so I could video that.
I'll do it again tomorrow.
Okay. We'll
do it every day until the game.
Yeah, I need to. David Weed, yeah, Wave died. That's good.
Have you started walking around with like that 14-pound weighted vest or like the 8-pound weighted vest just to condition yourself for the cameras or?
Kind of. Yesterday I wore the 16-pound vest for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wore it for an hour.
I thought you were joking.
No. I'm old. Okay. I'm going to tennis. Love you guys. Everyone, we will. I wouldn't doubt it if there's a show tonight, but nothing
you're gonna
scheduled
call
as of
me,
now.
be like,